Yes, guys, welcome back for another Sunday morning live stream. We are here to analyze all of the Saturday action, whether you're watching live or on catch up. Do not miss this one because we are going to go through so much cool stuff. Like, of course, as always on a Sunday morning, I'm here to round up those Saturday games, whether it's the data from them, the XG plots from them, the pass maps from them, just the stuff I've seen from the eye test from them. So loads to catch up on. This helps us with our forward playing with FPL. This is very much a football dominated chat with an FPL influence, right? Okay. What you'll see from me in the week is all FPL focus. What you'll see from me often on a Sunday morning is more football focus with how it might help our FPL teams, which I'm really looking forward to. So, guys, if you're in the chat, come and say hello. It is set to subscribers only, but I value your comments as always in the chat. So good to see Andy Martin in the house. I was delighted when I saw Andy said he was going to join. Andy is smashing it this season. He's a manager that always interests me in terms of a follow because he just plays the game a little bit differently. Some would say he's against the template. Some would say he's a bit of a high upside chaser. Some would say he likes to go against the grain and he's not had Haaland, for example, this season and doing really well off it. Andy, I think, captain Saka yesterday, so fair play and well done if he did. Lalex has just woken up. Keith, howdy peeps. I know from doing this show regularly, part of the reason I do it is to hit a slightly different audience because I know Sunday morning, loads in the UK and Europe probably aren't interested in a stream, although shout out to everyone that is. But I know the Australians, the Indians, those in Asia, Australasia, the Middle East, we have a huge amount of you watching right now, which is always loads of fun. So if you want to say where in the world you're watching from, let me know. But I'm expecting to see quite a few Aussies in the house, maybe a few in Asia and the Far East, maybe quite a few in the Middle East and Africa too. And hopefully some in the Americas and Europe as well. If you're on Salah captain, let me know, like Keelan, fair play. Morning from Sweden, good stuff. California, whoa, what time is it there? It must be proper late. Northampton, Letchworth, Ireland, Melbourne, Lebanon, Warrington. There we go, Malaysia. Hello, everyone. Welcome. To everyone all over the world, which is always so cool. The best thing about doing YouTube streams for me is being like, oh, I've got people watching from all over. FPL Chai's in the house. Chai, if you want to come and join, just let me know. You're very welcome to hop on. Likewise, you might want to watch. We don't have many watching from Italy, so greetings to Antonio as well. Andy's in Dublin. We've got Joburg. There we go. I'm Lee in England, in Thailand. There we go. Egypt, Nairobi. Shout out, guys. Right. Where shall we start? Okay, to give you a little indication, we're going to start with just some data from the Scout members area in terms of headlines. But stay tuned because in around 10 minutes' time, it's where we get to all the visual stuff, the pass maps, the XG plots, the stuff that you know is more natural to me. But as always, I like to start with a bit of data because, again, something I'm trying to improve with my game is a little bit more data influence because I've never really taken to analyzing spreadsheets. It's just not how my brain processes stuff. But I know the best FPL managers do both, right? That they have to be, I think, a combination of analytics and grass FC. Andy Martin was on Saka captain. It's Morgan Rogers day to day. Absolutely it is. Although you've got Ollie Watkins too, I think, Andy, who for some strange reason I dropped on wildcard. I've had Ollie Watkins since game week 3. I took a 4-point hit for Ollie Watkins in game week 3. But it is what it is. I'm over that. Am I? Am I really? Guys, the XG over and underachievers. This is usually a list of those that miss big chances. Sometimes it's a list of bad finishers. In game week 7, we saw Adama Traore miss a few. Did anyone see the foot race between Adama and Kyle Walker? That was the highlight for me of Saturday. It was literally 60 yards of those two going completely at it. You don't often see full-on sprints in a Premier League game over 50, 60 yards. You'll see 20, 30-yard sprints quite often. Well, Traore and Walker, two of the fastest players in the league, went head-to-head. And honestly, Adama rinsed him. Which you just don't see. And Kyle Walker had a head start. Guys, quiz question, who's the fastest player in the Premier League, not only this season, but ever? who's clocked the highest miles per hour or kilometers per hour in the speed in the league this season, and it's set a Premier League record. Let's see who knows it. Get your guesses in below. We saw Anthony Gordon miss a pen. That's a 0.78 xg chance. Atara, look, Bournemouth missed some big chances. We'll get to that. As did Vardy, Kudus, Sharda, Gundogan, 0.46. And yeah, you're all getting there. And it's not CR7. No, it's Van de Ven. It's not Walcott. It's not about Antonio Valencia. Van de Ven's greyhound, isn't he? Absolute greyhound. Yeah, Mickey. Okay, so look, overperformers are those that score goals with low XG chances. Kovacic, 2 goals from 0.29. Doku's goal was good. Doku reminds me of Traore, just they're both like head-down runners with no end product. Well, yesterday, Doku showed us he's got some end product, and he had a really good game on Tuesday night in the Champions League. Eyes on Doku. If he becomes a regular starter, a guaranteed starter, which I can't see, he's obviously an asset. In terms of bonus points, Saka smashed it, 67 in the BPS. We saw Saka getting bonus last week without an attacking return. Arsenal scored 4 goals. He wasn't involved, kind of was, but didn't get the assist in any of the 4, and he still got bonus. So when Saka gets goals and assists, as he did yesterday, of course he's going to get bonus points. Of course he's going to get bonus points. The Rico assist was much needed. We're going to look at these teams in more detail. I'll come back to some of this scout stuff in a minute. We've got the players in terms of shots, by the way. Who's mopping up the big shots? Last week, we saw 7 shots from 3 players. 7 shots from Havertz, 7 shots from Palmer, 7 shots from Saka. And this week, we've seen 7 shots from Havertz, 7 shots from Saka. Are we going to see 7 shots from Cole Palmer? Because if we see 7 shots from Cole Palmer today, it's going to be another big one. Because Cole Palmer doesn't shoot without hitting the target a lot of the time, and often with goals. If Cole Palmer has 7 shots, he will get 2 goals today. Honestly, that's just his efficiency. So there we go. Look, Havertz and Saka only hit the target twice from their 7. And again, that was a common theme last week, not hitting the target. Cole Palmer hit the target, I think 5 of his 7, or certainly 4, because we saw him score 4 goals. Really interesting there. Chances created. What Saka offers that Havertz doesn't is that chance creation. He created more chances than any other player yesterday. Again, we know his set-piece threat, but Damsgaard is one to monitor of Brentford as well, playing really, really well. We'll see Damsgaard's average position in just a second. In terms of the teams, no surprises, Arsenal. I think Arsenal had 36 against Leicester shots. Well, it was, 28, 29 against Southampton. They didn't quite match it, but still absolutely dominant. Guys, there's over 450 of you watching, which is wicked. Thank you guys for watching this Sunday morning. We're about to get to all the visual stuff. If you want to show your appreciation for these Sunday morning streams, I'd love you to hit the like button, but also please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Around half of you won't be subscribed, and that's cool. But there'll be a big group of that half that go, oh, I thought I was subscribed. Oops, let's hit the button. That shows your support for me continuing to do these Sunday streams. So thank you guys for hitting the buttons. Raj changes captain last minute from Saka to Haaland. No, yeah. Guys, fair play if you went Saka captain, by the way. I said it all week. I was 50-50 on Arsenal attacker v Haaland. Said it all week. Thank you, Johnny, for subscribing. Good man. Mackham's in the house. Seems like Palmer only shoots if he can hit the target. It's a really good observation. Genuinely, we should know that last week, Havertz, Saka, Palmer all had 7 shots. This week, Havertz, Saka, 7 shots again. Like, they are shot monsters. Palmer could easily get 7 today. The difference between conversion rate into not even goals, just hitting the target. Last week, we saw Palmer hit the target 4 or 5 times. Saka and Havertz only hit it 1 or 2 times. Again, yesterday, 2 from 7 isn't really good enough. Like, it's good because it's Havertz and Saka. I want to see them hitting the target 50% of the time. And if they do, we'll start to see more goals, which is why Cole Palmer is so effective. Arsenal. Yes, I've got some brilliant Bowen data. Stay tuned for that. Some brilliant Bowen data. Saka captain, it was so obvious. Look, what I showed you last week was this same XG plot against Leicester, and it was even more one-sided. We saw a huge XG plot where we went, if Arsenal do the same to Southampton, they're going to score goals. They kind of did. Wasn't quite as aggressive. Southampton offered more than Leicester going forward, despite the 1 goal versus the 2. But the XG, 1.34, is useful. But what we saw with Arsenal, especially early on in the game, that first half, a ton of chances, but small chances. Probably struggling to carve out big chances. And until they get the big chances, goals are limited. And then we see fairly big chances for 2 of the goals. And they take them. Arsenal are good. But Arsenal lined up with something really interesting yesterday. Guys, many of you look at the 11 that Arsenal tweet to go, oh, is my player playing? And you probably don't quite clock all the positions all the time. They had injuries yesterday. They had no Ben White. They had no Timber. So Thomas Partey played right back. Jorginho then played in the midfield. Because of that, Rice had to sit a little bit more because Jorginho can't quite get around. So he's better having 2 holders. And it became a box midfield with Havertz and Jesus. Look at this. Look at this. Really interesting. You could draw a square between Jesus, Havertz, Jorginho and Rice. Effectively, they played with a box midfield, which I don't think I've seen Arteta do. No number 9. Havertz and Jesus rotated in that role, but one played left, one played right. And it's a box. And then it allows, that's why Sterling played. Because Martinelli can play up front. We remember Martinelli was a striker. But Sterling can be a little bit more central, more comfortable perhaps in central areas. If this was Martinelli, it'd probably been a bit wider. So because he went for the box, he went for Sterling. And Sterling and Saka were there to play quite narrow. Now, Saka, of course, always plays wide. But often he's on the touchline. He wasn't quite on the touchline yesterday. Looks like the old Brazilian 4-2-2-2. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Like, I liked how high Sterling was. I liked how high Saka was. I was surprised to see Jesus as deep as he was. I thought when I saw the lineup, it would be Jesus number 9. And I thought it would be Jorginho sitting by himself, Rice as a number 8, and Havertz playing like Havertz, Trossard, Havertz, Jesus the same. Obviously, without Odegaard, you have to mix things up. But Thomas Partey down that right-hand side got a load of the ball. Look at the thickness in the lines between the right and the left-hand side of the pitch. Those passing lines between Saliba, Partey, Saka, so dominant. Yet down the left, didn't see much of the ball. Calafiori, you guys know I'm biased, had a really good game again. But a load of that XG chain comes from Saka because that right-hand side was so big. Maybe if Sterling doesn't play and it's Martinelli, the left-hand side gets a little bit more love. But I thought it was really interesting to see. Will this be a sign of things to come by Arsenal? Probably not. I don't think we'll see the box midfield much, and we won't see many Jorginho starts and Gabby Jesus starts, which certainly influence that shape. But it just shows Arteta can mix it up. It shows the depth of Arsenal's squad as well. Like, no Ben White, no Timber. Fine, we'll play Partey then. We'll change the look of the midfield. Sterling at fault for Southampton goal. He's dross. Yeah, I mean, look, maybe. Jesus, yeah. Sterling dived 3 times the first 10 minutes. We do know Sterling earns penalties like no other. And when Sterling earns penalties, you always look at Sterling teams and go, oh, who's on pens? Like Sterling's wins pens, and that's very good for Saka captainers. And Saka captainers yesterday would have seen Sterling in the 11 and gone, this is good. We're going to get a penalty today. Saka's going to score me a pen. Interesting, isn't it? Don't think we forgot Tyler Dibbling rinsing the Italian. Oh, come on, Shy. Look, he's not bulletproof. And Dibbling is awesome, by the way. I've got him in my draft team. So good. And it's worth noting, Calafiori's not a left back. He's just not. He's doing very well there, but he's a centre back. He should be like, he's there just in case as centre back cover, but he's a centre back, and we'll see him at centre back in a couple of years, I'm sure. Freddie says, I said all week how weak Saints are down that left and concede lots of chances from there. You did, Freddie. And Freddie said, Captain, he's in my WhatsApp group. Freddie's one of our channel members. If you want to be a channel member, by the way, guys, there's infos on the screen, but Freddie and Gucci and Chai are all in that WhatsApp group. And Freddie said all week, go for an Arsenal captain. Get Jesus out, man. Havertz number 9. Yeah, maybe. The join button is below if you fancy it. Don't think we forgot. Yeah, okay, there we go. That was Chai's comment. Andy said, Southampton are so swashbuckling. Yeah. Mackham says, only if Sterling doesn't try and steal the pen. And it is a common theme with Sterling. So look, really interesting from Arsenal. Unlucky for those that punted, like Malachi's in the chat. He punted on Trossard, captain. Unlucky. We all thought Trossard would start. Of course we did. We thought Martinelli would start too. It was a bit surprising to see Sterling and Jesus in there. But look, Arteta can mix it up. We'll come back to more Arsenal in a second. But yeah, at home, against weaker oppositions, they're clocking good XG now, like consistently over 3. That's good for goals. And those on wildcard that went double Arsenal defence, oh, you expected at least 1 clean sheet, probably 2 against Southampton and Leicester. You didn't get a single one. That's painful. I only went 1 defender, so I'm happy there. And then I went double attack. Again, that's worked out quite well. Thank you all, as always, for your comments. We'll take requests on this show as well in terms of stuff you want to see. But let's move on because I'm going game by game. So Arsenal with a headline. They were predicted to get the most XG. They did. Saka was a huge captaincy option. Many didn't go there. The likes of Andy Martin, brave managers did. But Haaland was, of course, the popular captaincy call. Again, Man City lost out. We're going to get to Man City in a sec. But I think another headline, guys. Jarrod Bowen. Another headline has to be Jarrod Bowen because what do we see consistently in FPL? We see Jarrod Bowen overperforming his XG. We see Jarrod Bowen carrying and being talismanic for West Ham. Now, West Ham at Ipswich, so fair enough. It was a fixture you could target. Many will look at the next 2 and go, it's not the best run to jump on. It's not the best entry point. Well, Jarrod Bowen has Spurs next. Spurs defence is improved this season, but I think there's still a goal there for Bowen if West Ham function all right in attack. And then Man United at home, West Ham could go into that game as favourites if Ten Hag's still there. And then it's Forest, Everton, Newcastle, Arsenal, Leicester, Wolves, Bournemouth. Like, I'm happy with those West Ham fixtures. And then Southampton, like, it's a very good run. And I don't think you have to worry too much about entry point. Now, Jarrod Bowen right up there with Mikel Antonio. What's interesting to see is Wan-Bissaka's positioning, quite like that. And I think the centre-back partnership, now Tadebo's back in that 11, they look so much better than when Maverick Panos was playing there alongside Kilman. Rodriguez sitting, Souček back in the team, Paqueta, Kudus did really well yesterday as well. And it's narrow. The width is coming from the fullbacks. Really interesting there. Bowen and Kudus can play quite central, and that is good for goal threat for both those players. If Ten Hag is still there. Well, let's see. I don't know if Man United lose to West Ham, Villa today, honestly, he could go. We'll talk more about the later games today in just a second. Well, towards the end of the show. So look, I want to analyse Jarrod Bowen in a little bit more granular detail. Let me know in the chat if anyone likes Bowen, if you think you might move to Bowen, what your take on Jarrod Bowen is. Meanwhile, let me just check our likes. Are we up to, I don't know, I'd love to get to 500 likes today. I'd love to get to 5. We're over 100. It's a good start. I'd also love to get 100 subs. So if you fancy supporting the channel, just check, because many of you will be like, why can't I add my comment in the chat? You've got to be subscribed, blackmailing you. And then as soon as you're subscribed, you can put your comment in the chat. And I love seeing all the comments in the chat, and I'll bring as many of them up as I can. So please do hit those buttons, team. Is Rico Lewis essential? We'll get to Man City in a second. Let me show you his average position from yesterday. Obviously, he got the assist. But let's focus on Bowen. Love Bowen, hate West Ham. And I think Hillbilly might have nailed that in terms of why we don't buy Jarrod Bowen. Why Jarrod Bowen's ownership is fairly low. It's purely down, I think, to the club he plays for and the trust we have in Lopetegui in attack. Jarrod Bowen is only 5% owned. That's criminally under-owned. He's dropped in price. He's 7.4. He clocked an XGI yesterday of 1.34. And what he adds that a lot of the right-sided players perhaps don't, like say Mbeumo, is he adds creativity. Now, Mbeumo's got much better goal threat, and I'm not for 1 second saying Bowen's the better option. Everyone should have Mbeumo in your team. But there's a lot of talk about Mbeumo, and we all talk about Saka and Salah, these right-sided players that are great for FPL. Well, Jarrod Bowen is another one of them. Jarrod Bowen is another one of them. And when we compare, we're going to compare Bowen to Mbeumo's stats. But when we look at West Ham yesterday, look, it's Ipswich, but 23 shots is useful. They're not relying on set pieces. They clocked actually the highest XG, I think, of the game week so far. Those big circles are big chances. It's impressive. It's impressive for West Ham. It's a good start. We could say it's only Ipswich, but Ipswich I don't think are mugs. I don't think they're mugs. We don't fully know that. Ipswich lost a plot yesterday, yeah, but they are better at home. West Ham have a strong attacking presence, not a good defence. Yeah, Andy might have summarised that quite well. Ipswich are going to be so much stronger at home. Johnny says Ipswich are woeful. I'm not sure they are. I don't know. I feel like Southampton are down. I feel like Leicester and Ipswich have a slim chance. A slim chance. But Leicester got dominated yesterday and won the football match, and that's going to be interesting. If you can win football matches ugly as a newly promoted team, you've got a real chance of staying up. A real chance of staying up. So look, we're going to compare Jared Bowen with Bowen and Mbeumo. Look at this average position map from Bowen and Mbeumo. This is season long, right? This is from the scout members area. Almost identical position, Jared Bowen. Look at that. Just flicking between them. If you're listening on podcast, I'm showing the heat maps of the season so far. But high and wide and lots of penalty area touches from Mbeumo. Absolutely the same as Bowen. Probably slightly fewer penalty area touches. It's impressive. When you look at the numbers, they've both had 7 starts. Bowen's actually been subbed off 3 times, which I was quite surprised at. The goal threat from Mbeumo is so much higher. We have seen pens in there, 6-2, but Bowen comes with assist threat. And Mbeumo still not had an assist, which is quite surprising. And obviously Bowen's had a couple. When we look at something more visual from Scout, this is the kind of key attacking stat. And Mbeumo is the better option, of course he is. But could you add both? Bowen outperforms Mbeumo in a fair few stats, certainly the creative ones. We can see there with the red line versus the blue line. I think it's interesting just to consider. Bowen's 7.4 million, by the way, guys. I just think he's a very solid FPL pick. Is he in my team? No. Is Bowen and Mbeumo in my team? Yes. Maybe that's a sign. If you want to join, by the way, if you want to join in the chat, then get your comments in. I'm reading absolutely everyone. You guys are a key part of this show, I hope. Been under that for 3 weeks, moved away from, says KM. Yeah, Delap. I mean, when we look at those Ipswich chances, a lot of them fall to Delap. Like we saw Delap with another goal. And what we're seeing is Ipswich is struggling to create high volume of chances, but half of it comes from set pieces. 0.63 of their XG yesterday. Over half their XG was from set pieces. Interesting. And I remember even game week 1, who watched the first game of the season on the first Saturday game of the season, Ipswich Liverpool. That first half, Ipswich looked like they were going to cause Liverpool some problems from set pieces, didn't they? Couple of headers. Greaves almost scored. And Greaves, that's why Greaves could be a good option. He does offer goal threat. And Ipswich clearly are a team that are going to do well from set pieces, I think. Don't think we've seen many, if any, set piece goals yet from Ipswich, but that'll be coming. With the break, Johnny, you're going to do a live stream on Sunday morning. Do you know what? Next Sunday morning, I actually won't be. No, because of the international break, I'm taking a little detox and I'm on holiday. I will do some streams when I'm away, not on this channel though, for others, because that's part of my deal with them. But yeah, I need a little detox, I think. Guys, do get voting. Are you on a green or a red arrow? We'll also do, let's do it. Should we do a new poll? 84% of you. Whoa. Excuse me. 84%. I should have just muted my mic. Apologies. 84% of you are on a green arrow. Let's do another poll, though. I think we poll around later's games, shall we? I'm really interested in this one. This is a good one. If United lose, no, we'll the big game later. It's Man United. Man United win. Villa win or draw. If Villa win, I think he's gone. Honestly, Van Nistelrooy could just get it temporarily, couldn't he? Thanks, Andy. Like and subscribe, guys. Join the chat. Look at the info you get. There you go. Ha! My man. Good boy, Andy. Good boy. Right. So I like this. I like this from Mbeumo, but I like it from Bowen. Let's talk about Mbeumo's team, though, because they had 19 shots yesterday and Wolves had 16. This was a fun game. 8 goals. Is this a theme of things to come at Brentford? Are we just going to see them trying to outscore teams? if you haven't seen it, Thomas Frank did was recorded by Brentford's media team in the dressing room doing his closing statement to the team. Closing statement, like he's a lawyer. And it was interesting, him just telling his team, like, that really good in attack. And yes, we conceded 3 today and we need to defend better, he said. But then he also said, we were better defensively this week than we were last week. And actually, they conceded 3 goals, but to an XG of 0.68. If you're on, the video is class. I want to see more of that, Chai. Like, it's a bit like the stuff we've seen through the Fly on the Wall documentaries of clubs like Spurs and Arsenal. But just to get it instantly, like you see that stuff like those Amazon or Netflix documentaries, you see them after the season's ended for the season that's just gone. So it's like, you go back and watch it a year after it happened, which is still cool. But when Brentford post that half an hour after the game, you're like, this is really cool. This has just happened and I can now react to it. And it might, I thought it was interesting. He said, we need to defend better. And maybe they do, but look, if you're on Flecken and you've conceded 0.68 XG, you kind of hope for a clean sheet. He conceded 3. And when you look at those Wolves chances, look at the size of those bubbles. All small chances. Guys, they were shooting from range. The XG, that is... Like usually when you see these XG plots, you see them all in the area, the shots, and you see a couple of bubbles from distance. There are Wolves bubbles there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8 or 9 bubbles outside the box and like 30, 35-yard chances. Like, were they just shooting on site yesterday? That is ridiculous. Like, they're not going to beat Flecken from there. They're just not. So I thought that was really interesting. And Brentford, proper efficient in goal. I mean, yes, they clocked 4+ XG, but they scored 5 goals from 19 shots. That's not bad going at all. And the set piece threat from Brentford, again, a lot of these big bubbles are high XG from set pieces. 1.63 of their XG was from set pieces. There's teams yesterday that didn't clock anywhere near 1.63 in total. Wolves are one of them. Well, Brentford did through their set pieces alone. And look, we saw Pinnock with a goal, but centre-back goals there could very much happen. Wolves attacking players after we, Cunha goal should have been a lot more XG, and maybe Bruno brace today. Maybe. We'll talk about Man United later. There is a poll going, so do get voting. So look, this is the Brentford chances. What Brentford are very good at, and they've always been good at this under Thomas Frank. This is the reason why Tony and Mbeumo have always been good options. Brentford always find a way of creating high XG chances. You will not see one of these maps, even when they play the top teams. When they go to Liverpool or Man City, they'll still have a couple of big bubbles. They always find a way. I like it. And that's why I like goals for Brentford. They get big chances and they get high XG chances. So, oh no, do I not have a Brentford map? Damn. I don't have a Brentford pass map, but what it will show is Mbeumo's average position, high and wide. Sharda started yesterday, no returns despite playing up front. We saw Van der Ven playing at right back again, by the way. Van der Ven, best 4 million option probably, or Greaves. It is a little annoying, Mackham. It's a fair point. Like when Brentford score 5 and the talisman gets 1 attacking return, there's 10 attacking returns up for grabs there, goals and assists. He clocked an XG of 0.84, an XA of 0.29. So his XGI was 1.13, and he left with an 8-pointer. It's not bad, though. You take 8 points before the match, don't you? Absolutely take 8 points before the match. So I guess sometimes you just got to see it like that. Rather than the opportunities he missed out on, he still, could have not been on pens or could have not got the pen. He still got the bonus, though, because of his creative numbers. He got 1 bonus point. Damsgaard got 2, and Cunha got all 3 bonus because, again, Cunha was the only forward that scored. Well, and Strand Larsen in the game. No Brentford forward scored the goals. And when I looked at the Everton game yesterday, I was thinking the same. If DCL can get a goal, he's going to get 3 bonus. And he was so close to a goal, wasn't he? We'll talk about Everton later. We'll be watching Spurs defence very closely today. Look, they are a much improved defence. They really are. Honestly, when you look at the numbers, Van der Ven's a legit option at 4.5. Spurs are defending so much better this season than last. You're going to see some Spurs clean sheets. Right, let's move away then on to Man City. Now, this is called, I think this is this space just outside the area. I think it's called something like Space 14. this is where a ton of chances are created from. If you've got the ball in this area, which is just outside the 18-yard box in a central area, plot 14, I think it's called, or space 14. If you're listening on podcast, we can see all the arrows are all the passes made from that area on the pitch. Now, if you're clocking loads of passes in that area, you should be clocking loads of good chances. Fulham didn't have many in that area. 17 passes completed. In the same area, Man City 51. But, and this is where it's really frustrating, Man City, this is their tick-attacker, neat, but not carving big chances. For 2 weeks in a row, this is going to blow your mind, guys. For 2 weeks in a row, Man City have been out-XG'd by their opponent. Newcastle clocked a higher XG than Man City last week. And this week, Fulham clocked a higher XG than Man City. Now, different models will have slightly different numbers, but all the ones I've seen have Fulham out on top in terms of XG models. XG here, but from between the posts, was 3.03 versus 1.31. This is Man City at home to a middling, with all due respect to Fulham, to a middling Premier League team. Usually, that spells high XG and Haaland set and forget captain. When Haaland plays a middling or lower team at home, even when Saka has Southampton at home, you go Haaland captain, because we have been taught this over time. Man City will score big points at home and they'll bully their opposition. They'll have all the ball. They'll have all the XG. Well, look at this. Fulham had a higher XG from the 17th, 18th minute all the way through. Man City had the better start, and then from the 18th minute, Fulham had the higher XG throughout the entire game. Fulham are much different this year, and the addition of Anderson is huge at the back. But they were unlucky, as Tiger and Guna said. Really interesting. If you went Haaland captain, yes, he had some chances, but twice in a week, he's not had the XG, and therefore he's not had the goals. And what is it? Is it the creativity behind him because there's no De Bruyne? Probably. Is it Rodri's absence? Probably. Is it a combination of all of them? Absolutely, definitely. Now, Foden played yesterday, but not quite De Bruyne levels of creativity. Really interesting to monitor moving forward. If De Bruyne is not fit, and we know Rodri's not, then maybe that's cause for concern. De Bruyne, I think, is the key. We saw them go without Rodri the first few game weeks of the season, and Man City were fine. We need De Bruyne back for a really well-functioning Haaland, I think. I mean, sure, we've been there before without De Bruyne, and Foden can do it. Of course he can. Foden's amazing. But Foden's off his game at the moment. De Bruyne has pulled out the Belgium squad for the international break. He's also requested to the Belgian manager that he pulls out the November squad. That means we're going to get a fresh De Bruyne for when he's fit, because he's not going to have. He can go at it. He can get the minutes, and then he can relax a little bit, because he won't be going for Belgium in October or November, which is really important. He gets a break. HP says, followed you since your Euros content. Thank you for this fix on a Sunday morning. Great idea, and wish you all the success. Kudos to you doing that mental health video too. Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I did a bit of a mental health check-in walk. I just think it's important to discuss. Like, men often don't talk about mental health, and I've got a male dominant audience, and I had a really rough week last week, just with something personal, and I was annoyed about my FPL team, and I was annoyed about my wild card and annoyed about my FPL team, and I was like, Gianni, sort yourself out. Look what just happened a few days before. That's what matters in life. Like, bigger picture stuff and FPL, bigger picture stuff, all your relationships, your family, your social stuff, all of that stuff is important, your loved ones, and then little FPL. Yet we let it get to us. Honestly, sometimes we need that reality check. And I think that 10-minute video helps me talk it out, but also perhaps helped a few of the viewers as well. I might do another video like that during the international break. it's not something I'm going to pre-plan. It's when the time is right. And obviously that was off the back of a lot of managers getting red arrows and a lot of managers being stressed and anxious about their FPL teams. This week, a lot of us are on green arrows, which is lovely to see. So yeah, thank you for that, mate. And if you want to support the channel and those types of videos, then you can show your appreciation just by simply liking them, like this video, but also by hitting that subscribe button now if you fancy. So thanks, mate. I appreciate your feedback. I didn't get many views, didn't get many subs off it, and I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it just because I think it's important to discuss. And my core audience, you guys, are the type that will watch that video. What that video won't do is do well on the YouTube algorithm and people will come and watch. But that's fine. Not doing it for that. It was actually meant to be a members-only video. And my channel members get videos like that quite often. So yeah, if you want to be a channel member, guys, seamless plug, you can become a channel member by clicking that join button below. Squad members and ultras tier both get that extra type of video, which I drop every week. And then yeah, the ultras get the WhatsApp group. Loads of the ultras are in as well. Hey team. So look, let's carry on with the FPL chat, shall we? Don't want anything too heavy on a Sunday morning, do we? Christ. Is Cunha a good buy? Guys, I had Cunha on my watch list this week. If you watch my transfer targets video, Cunha was one. Good to see him get big points last week. This Thursday as well, mental health. Yeah, I was very aware of that. Liverpool double defence has served me well. Who should I sell from Trent and Canate? Guys, I think Trent's a long-term hold. Can I do free memberships again? Yeah, I will give away some, but I don't know if it'll be today. Let's see. If we get 100 subscribers, I'll give away 5 memberships, but I can't see us getting there. Let's see. Thank you, guys. Let me just see. How many have we had so far? If we get 100, I'll give away 5. But yeah, we've had 29, 39. Yeah, we've had like 20. Strand's also an option. Giovanni's in. But Haaland against a 5 playing low block with an Italian defender marking. Yeah, Serbia has kept him quiet twice now. Twice. Thanks, Steve. Not looking forward to today as a United fan. No, and look, we're going to carry on with our theme on reviewing Saturday's matches. But just a flag, 70% of you think Aston Villa will win. Let's talk more about that game later in the show because I want to know more about our thoughts for goal scorers and Watkins and Rodgers and Bruno. We got to address all these things. Haaland stayed humble. Yeah, I captain Saka, best decision ever. That is huge. Congrats to Adita, who went from 3 million to 300k. Absolutely massive. We'll talk more about Forest and Chelsea, all of today's games coming up. But let's just continue. I don't want to be sidetracked too much and review what we saw yesterday. We're almost there in terms of reviewing Saturday's games. Man City, Fulham. Yeah, look, Fulham dominant twice in the last 2 weeks in the Premier League. Newcastle and Fulham have out-XG'd Man City. What about Liverpool? Liverpool versus Crystal Palace. Again, guys, Crystal Palace struggling in front of goal. 0.86 XG, 3/4 of that was from set pieces. It was the same against Everton last week. Not good, is it? You're relying on set pieces for your very limited XG. The likes of Eze are just a sell. 9 shots to Liverpool 16. XG total for Liverpool wasn't high, but they find ways of scoring goals. I like Liverpool. We all do. Jota. For those like me that sold on wildcard, you're probably semi-gutted. I think Liverpool and Trent is a long-term hold, even with tough fixtures. They are going to keep clean sheets against good teams as well as bad. And Trent is just so good. If he does clean, he bets bonus points. As we saw yesterday, another 8-pointer for Trent. Jota could have had a hat-trick, yeah. Eze missed another easy chance too. True. Crystal Palace always go on a run at the end of the season. Yeah, they need to. It's a bit concerning for Crystal Palace at the minute. It is a little bit concerning, isn't it? We expect them to be so much better. Remember, Glasner was so hyped at the end of last season. He was being linked with a Bayern job. So, yeah, that's what we get from Liverpool. We do expect them to always score. But what we didn't get under Jurgen Klopp, we never had a guarantee of clean sheets under Jurgen Klopp, really. Certainly not at the end of his reign. Under Arne Slot, we're getting that level of guarantee. Was it 5 clean sheets now for Liverpool? They are the best defence in the league. For expected goals conceded, For goals conceded, for clean sheets, they are mopping up. Robertson is concerning because Tsimikas, for the second time this season, started a Premier League game, I think it is. Now, with that being the case, just shows he's not absolutely nailed. When they've had a European game or a midweek fixture, you could see Tsimikas coming in. Oh, Maliki, thank you, mate. Maliki has signed up for another month as being an ultra. Oh, I love having Maliki in the ultras groups. Any Chelsea fans like Maliki are very welcome in the ultras. But it's an awesome chat. We've got former FPL winner in there, Ali Yahangarov. We've got FPL Chai. We've got someone else who's very, very famous and maybe a former world champion outside of FPL in actual sport. I won't say his name. Yeah, it's wicked, as well as people from all over the world. There's only about 20 of us, but it's wicked. Offcore joined on Friday as well. What's my outlook on Szoboszlai? I still think he's a very good option. I know we saw Curtis Jones come in and play there yesterday, but Szoboszlai is still great. We all know him well. Yeah, I mean, he's a regular watcher of the show. And look, currently in Wuhan, in China, so good luck to Neil with his latest tournament. He's on very good form at the moment, which we're all very happy about. Gakpo looked really good. Yep, Gakpo does look good. So does Diaz, though. And it's only going to be one of them, isn't it? It's either Gakpo or Diaz, and I guess we weren't massively surprised to see Gakpo come in yesterday, were we? Is Diaz a hold? Let's see. Diaz plays after the international break. Remember, he'll be away with Colombia, but he does play on the Sunday against Chelsea. I expect him to start. I still think he could be a sell, though. Chelsea are good. Yeah, Chelsea Diaz on the right doesn't work. Although it's small sample size, isn't it? Here's something funny, Gianni. I listen to you every Sunday afternoon while cooking. What are you cooking? Wait, where in the world are you, Tiger and Guna? Yeah, Colombia game, I think it's Tuesday night. But remember, it's like going, it's Tuesday night Colombia time, which is time difference. Have I mentioned the legend James Justin? We'll get to him. Can you almost predict when Jota will score or not? Well, that's the difficulty. That's why so many on Wildcard sold him. Welcome to the show, by the way, if you're just joining, because 9:30 is now here and a lot get up later on a Sunday morning. If you're just joining, we have gone through all of the Saturday games and I've shown you various cool bits of info. I'm going to do a whistle-stop tour in the next 5 minutes of everything I've shown you to date. Yeah, Tiger and Bruno is in Perth, Western Australia. Let me know where in the world you guys are. If you want to let me know where in the world you're watching from, let's flash up a few of those and then carry on with yesterday's games and then do a quick review and then we'll do questions and look forward to Sunday games. I want all your predictions as well. We'll talk about those 3 Sunday fixtures. But first, where in the world are you? Because Perth, Western Australia is probably about as far away from me as you can get. In fact, I think the East Coast is probably further. Anyone in Sydney or Melbourne? Oh, there we go. Sydney to Stevenage. Look at that. Look at that. 2 next to each other. Malaysia, Cyprus, Milan. There we go. Perth, Asia. Where in Asia? Finland, New Zealand, Perth too. Harrison, wicked. Couple in Perth. Who'd have thought it? You guys love your FPL, don't you? I guess do you watch Premier League football? And is it Optus? Manchester, South Sweden, Paris. Bogdan's in the UK. Shub's in India. Shibustami Holmes in Kingston. We've got Mumbai, New Zealand. This is why I do the Sunday morning streams, guys. I love reaching all 4 corners of the globe. That is wicked. Hello to everyone in Europe as well. So cool. Got Warrington, Singapore, Morecambe to Mauritius. From Morecambe to Mauritius. Every Sunday morning on the Gianni Batici YouTube show, digesting all of the Saturday games. There we go. Bergen in Norway. I love Bergen. Been there on a cruise. Oslo, Stockholm, Moscow, Wigan, Sussex, Jamaica. Thank you, guys. That is wicked. Keep them coming in. Keep them coming in. Aussies are strong today, aren't they? Mount Everest, kidding, yeah. We have people watching everywhere. No one's in Mount Everest. Short Speed's in Texas. Must be late there. Joburg from Carmen as well. My wife's from Joburg, and she's called Cameron. Leipzig, Sydney, Dhaka, Tokyo. Right, should we crack on? So we've done Liverpool, Palace. Leicester, Bournemouth. Guys, if you own Semenyo and you own Bournemouth attackers, honestly, I spoke to Dean Ashton, who was there on 5 Live. Um, and Dean was there yesterday, and he said Bournemouth were really unlucky. In fact, let me read out his WhatsApps. He said, because I said to him, oh, they were pretty good. And he said they deserve more. Bournemouth were actually really good and deserve more. And I think this XG plot shows us it. Leicester keeping a clean sheet whilst conceding 2.12. You expect better. You expect that. The longest single flight in the world is Perth to London. Oh, nice. Didn't know that. Having a hard time getting a read on Leicester. The read on Leicester for me is they're not very good in attack. And I don't think they'll keep many clean sheets. I don't think Leicester are an FPL event. I really don't. They're not for me. And I know they... how can Shawnee get a gifted membership? Only when I give them away or someone donates them, dude. Or you can buy one. You can buy a membership. There's $2.99 a month if you fancy it. You can see everyone with a member gets all their comments brought up all the time because I see the emoji by their name, right? So if you're a member, you're genuinely always part of the show and I'll answer your questions at any point. Maliki says, I was jealous of Dean because he got to speak with Natalie Gerda before the Arsenal vs Southampton game. Oh, did he? Yeah, Dean's doing lots with Sky and TalkSport in the UK. And he's a wicked FPL manager as well. He captained Cole Palmer last week. Dean Ashton, former West Ham striker, England striker, friend of the show as well. Right. Leicester were bad. Bournemouth were good. Leicester won the game. Leicester are a non-event. Keep patience, I think, with Semenyo, although many will be benching him, and rightly so. In terms of average position, Semenyo was where we expect. High and wide on the, not overly wide, but high on the right-hand side. Tavernier and Kluivert do add creativity in that team. And Evan Nilsson was fairly quiet, but we know he's now got a goal. Of course, there is a cost of living crisis. And if you don't want to pay, that's fine. It's more just to show your support for the channel if you want to support me doing content. But of course, you don't have to. And it's if you want to be part of it. And if you've got the disposable £3 a month, the price of a coffee, right? But for some, I completely understand. And I don't want anyone becoming a member if it's tight financially for them. Christ, there's a lot more important things in life to spend your money on than me. Johnson behave. Well, each to their own, I guess. I am taking requests. I'll do that perhaps next week. Oh, I'm not streaming next Sunday. Sunday after. Can you show the top 3 players for the highest XGI from each club? Yeah, I can. Or maybe I'll do that in a video this week. Good idea. Maybe even just the top 1 from each club. I think it's really important to note that. I like that. We can do that. So, guys, that's Bournemouth. Everton, Newcastle. In England, this was the Saturday night football. I want my Saturday back. What a boring, rubbish game. No AA Studios. I promised free memberships 2 weeks ago that I would do it 1 week ago, and I opened last week's show with giving away 5 memberships. I literally, you're a week behind because do you remember it broke 2 weeks ago? So last week I did it, and I gave away 5, maybe even 10 memberships. So, dude, maybe you weren't watching last week. I like the look of Tavernier as a differential. Yeah, they're good. I think he's on some of the set pieces. James Justin's doing really well. Yeah, on that fixture. Yeah, true. But let's look at Everton Newcastle now, guys, because yeah, we'll be watching. Look at this for low XG. Like the first half an hour, nothing. Everton didn't produce anything until like the 75th minute when Dominic Calvert-Lewin had that big chance. How was DCL? He had one big chance, Bison, and it was a good save from Pope. And then off the rebound, he went to kick the ball and he kicked a defender and nearly got a penalty. Went to VAR. VAR didn't give the pen. It's one of those where if it was given, it wouldn't have been taken back, but it wasn't given in real time. Therefore, the penalty wasn't given. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores that big chance or gets the penalty and scores a penalty, he's finishing on double digits because he's going to get 9 points because he's going to get bonus points. He's going to get all 3 bonus. So it was one of those games where Dominic Calvert-Lewin again comes away with 2 points when he very easily could have had 9 just from one big chance. His time is coming. He is the main man. He is playing well. He looks sharp. He looks very sharp with his new haircut. So let's see. Gianni, should I sell Diaz or just hold? I think he might be a sell. And I think many are going to go to a Spurs midfielder. Many will be looking to see how Kulusevski and Brennan Johnson play today, by the way. Any Gordon owners in the chat, let us know. Mackham says, Pickford as a Mackham must have loved that. Did you see him post-match, the final whistle, Gordon, Pickford, and a Newcastle coach who I expect is a goalkeeper coach and therefore interested in the conversation, or someone involved with Gordon's decision to take the penalty that way. The three of them were chatting about the penalty. We don't know what they were saying, but it was something along the lines of, how did you know I was going that way? And obviously they're England mates as well as former teammates. But yeah, Gordon missed a penalty. It wasn't a great penalty, but it was a good save. Like, Pickford is very good at guessing the right way. We've seen that over time. For all those asking about channel memberships, I'm so sorry. YouTube give me an allocation of 10 memberships to give out per month, and I have to give them in batches of 5. So I can only on 2 shows in a month give away 5 free memberships. Okay. I will give away 5 free memberships if we get 100 subscribers this morning. I have said that. At the moment, we've had 30 subscribers. So if 100 of you, another 70 of you, which is very possible with over 700 watching, hit that subscribe button right now, I will give away 5 memberships to those subscribers, right? You've got to be subscribed to win a membership. So if you fancy hitting the like or the subscribe button, that'd be really, really welcome. But yeah, YouTube only lets you do 10 a month. I can't do more. The only way we can do more is if I think someone gifts them. I can't. It just, the buttons, yeah. Hit the button, says Steve. Good man. In terms of my team, I don't like to look at mid-game week ranks, but I promised I'd update on my team on these streams. First time I'd seen was when I screen grabbed this morning. I'm on a green arrow, 2.5 million. It's a good week so far. It's been a terrible season, but it's a good week so far. Hello, James. Welcome to the show. Hello, mate. Havertz's 8 was nice. I hope those bonus points hold. Of course, they can change. Rico Lewis finally got an attacking return, but conceded. What will I do with Diaz? Oh, thanks, Keelan. Yeah. Well, it's fine. Each their own. Morning from Durban, South Africa. I love Durban. Umhlanga. And Umhlanga I've been to near Durban. I've subscribed to you for quite a while now. Good man from Perth, Australia. So look, my plans for this team, I've got 3 free transfers. I think there's a good chance Diaz goes. And I'm really big on watching Spurs today. I think Spurs could be a team we all go towards because their fixtures get really good Spurs. In fact, if we look at the Spurs fixtures, it's good. It's good. Like today, they're away from home at Brighton, but I see goals. But then West Ham at home, Palace away, Villa at home, Ipswich at home. 3 homes from 4, which include homes against West Ham, Villa, Ipswich. Then it's Fulham at home after that. We all want Spurs attackers. Now, if you're selling Diaz, can you get to Son? Can you get to Maddison? Yes. Can you get to Kulusevski? Yes. Can you get to Brennan Johnson? Yes. If I'm ranking them all, Brennan's probably the standout for value, but I wonder if Son will be the standout of being the talisman. We know he's had a hamstring injury. He's not going to be involved today, and he isn't going away with South Korea. I expect him to be very well rested and available on Saturday, the 19th of October, when he plays West Ham at home. Son is of high interest to me. He's 9.9 million, but you might be able to convert Diaz to Son with some free transfers, right? If not, Brennan Johnson or Kulu, who's playing in a more central area. Yeah, classic Serie A game tonight. I think Milan will win. Son could be a shout when fit. Absolutely. I must admit, as someone that's owned Son for the first 3 game weeks, it is frustrating seeing him play so wide. What Postecoglou does, right? Postecoglou plays his wingers wide and the fullbacks inverted. And therefore, Son on the touchline isn't the same asset. I think I'll be moving to Solanke. Havertz to Solanke could happen. I'm absolutely considering that as well. Yeah. Hey, I'm even considering Calvert-Lewin to Solanke somehow. We got a lot of options. And with 3 free transfers, I can be really creative. Son did get me big points in game week 2 against Everton. I think got like 15 points from him-ish. So that's where we're at. What about games later, guys? Games later. How do we feel? In terms of predictions. We'll get to that. First, let's just do a little whistle-stop tour for those that have just joined, because honestly, I put so much pride and effort putting together the slides. So I've had 20 slides in today's show, and loads have only been watching for the last 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to whistle through those slides in the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to talk about the games later today. And hopefully during that time, we get to the number of subs where I can give away 5. Right. XG underperformers. We saw Traore missing chances. Gordon missed a pen. Atara from Bournemouth looked good. Came on and caused problems. 0.71 XG. There we go. Oh, thanks, Ransbands. I appreciate that. Overperformers were the ones that scored goals pretty much, as always. I think it's interesting to see BPS, Saka top of the charts. If Saka gets a return in any given game, he's almost certainly going to get bonus. That's how good he is. Last week, he didn't get a return. He still got bonus. In terms of shot volume, it's dominated by Arsenal, both for players and teams. This is all from the Scout members area, guys. And then we see the individual games. Arsenal dominated Southampton. Not quite the same level of dominance we saw against Leicester, but still 3 goals. And this is consistent. Arsenal at home, clocking high chance volume, high goals, double Arsenal attack, even through tough fixtures. I'm not so sure. Easy fixtures, absolutely. Box midfield. This is new for Arteta. We saw Partey at right back because there's no Ben White and no Timber. Jorginho, Rice, Jesus, Havertz. That is a square, a box midfield. We don't often see that from Arteta. I'm not sure if we'll see it moving forward. Let's see. West Ham, Bowen and Antonio are like a front 2 up there. And the fullbacks were high. Huge XG for West Ham. You don't see that usually. 23 shots, 4.11 XG. They battered Ipswich and they got the goals. And Mbeumo's playing well, but so's Bowen. And Mbeumo's a must-have. Bowen isn't there yet, but look how similar they are when I flick between their average positions. They play in the same place on the football pitch. Bowen has the creativity that Mbeumo doesn't, but Mbeumo has the higher goal threat. 6 goals versus 2, but 2 assists versus 0 for Bowen. And again, we can see it's the creativity where he wins out when I've done the comparison here on Scout. If you want any of this in more detail, you can rewind and go back because earlier in the show, I spoke about all these slides at length. Brentford Wolves, big XG for Brentford. What do they do well? Since Thomas Frank and Brentford have been in the Premier League, Brentford are the team that always, even in tough fixtures, will create high XG. Every game, high XG chances, sorry. Every game, you'll see some big chances for Brentford, even against the top teams. When they go to Liverpool, when they go to Man City, they'll always clock a couple of big chances. Thomas Frank is very good at it. And again, against Wolves, 19 shots, 5 goals is good conversion rate from an XG of 4.12. Very, very impressive. Wolves, if you own Flecken, you could have got a clean. Yes, you conceded 3 goals, but from an XG of 0.68, you might expect a clean sheet. Man City, a ton of passes in really dangerous areas. It still led to very few big chances created. They might have scored 3 goals from individual brilliance, but they're not functioning well as a team. 1.3 XG. Fulham were the better team. They really deserve something from the game. Fulham, higher XG. That's the second time in the Premier League in a row, Man City have been out XG'd. Newcastle Newcastle got a higher XG than them. Fulham got a higher XG than them. Flecken is dreadful. He's not the best, is he? I didn't pick him on wildcard. I went Matt's Sells, by the way. Liverpool, big chances. Palace, it's worrying, and they're relying on set pieces. 3/4 of their XG came from set pieces. Leicester were poor but won the game. Bournemouth were good and lost the game. Everton Newcastle was a boring game, 0-0. Calvert-Lewin was close, very close to 1. And then we have my team. Will we get leaks in game week 8 for Man City? Probably not. Probably not. They play on the Sunday. Don't think we'll get it, guys. We might do. Could be wrong. But I don't think we'll get it. Maybe we do. Let's move on and talk about the Sunday predictors. If you're listening on catch up on podcast and it's Monday morning, you're probably not that interested in where we go from now, because we're going to talk about the Sunday afternoon games, right? So the Sunday afternoon games, where are we? Yeah, I've got Matt Sells. I think maybe when we look at the Nottingham Forest fixtures, by the way, now he's better than Flecken. Flecken was good for the next 2 off wildcard, of which he didn't keep a clean sheet. And Matt Sales has Chelsea today. But then it's Palace, Leicester, West Ham, Newcastle. Good run of 4 games. I think Matt Sales. And by the way, going into game week 7, the best expected goals conceded in the league so far this season. Liverpool were top, City were second, Nottingham Forest were third. Best defence. Yeah, nodding at the double Arsenal defence. It's not been great, is it? So look, guys, how are we doing for likes? Did we ever get anywhere near 500 likes? I mean, there's so, like, doesn't take much to hit the like button, guys. There's over 700 of you watching. So if you could all hit that like button, that would be amazing. Because, yeah, we only got 290. So only a third of you, probably only about a 10th of you in terms of total viewers, have hit that like button. So please do consider giving me the thumbs up, because that just helps the YouTube algorithm and it costs you nothing. It's all about the algorithm. It's all about the algorithm with YouTube. Right, let's talk about today's games. What are our predictions? Let's go through them one by one. What's Gianni's predictions and what are yours? I want your predictions in the chat, guys. We're going to start with the 2 o'clock games today. So we have, first up, Aston Villa versus Man United. Now, you've been voting in the poll, and 70% of you think Man United will, think Villa will win. Let's do another poll. Will Ten Hag get sacked if United lose today? What do you reckon? I think he could. Yeah, 1-1, 3-1 Villa, a lot of 3-1s and 4-0s. It's worth noting, this is really interesting because I just look at journey times a lot, and do I overthink that? I'm not sure. United played on Thursday night in Portugal, and then they play Sunday. So what? They train on Friday, but not a proper session, and then Saturday's a run-through, Sunday game. Because they lose half a day from travel, and they play on Thursday. Aston Villa played on Tuesday at home. 48 hours better prep, plus the travel time. You're looking at like 60 hours better prep, 2.5 days better prep than Man United. Then you add in the fact that Man United have been rubbish of late. Then you add in the pressure from the manager, the toxic dressing room, and the fact that Villa are on a high. I can only see this game going one way. Ollie Watkins, you're going to get some points if you own Ollie Watkins today. Morgan Rogers, let's hope you get some points. I see United scoring, I think 3-1. 3-0, yeah. Good guesses, guys. I think a lot of you. Now, the big question for Man United is if they lose the game, do they lose their manager? Thomas Tuchel's the obvious guy to come in. I'm not sure if he's ready to take it. I don't know if he wants it. I assume he would want it. It's the Man United job. It's huge. 52% of you think Ten Hag will keep his job if United lose. I think he'll get sacked. Honestly. Maybe it's the nature of the performance. It's a good time to sack a manager in an international break. Especially for a club like United who are playing midweek European football. It's a good, get the Girona manager. Now, it's going to be Allegri, Southgate, Potter, Tuchel. They're the shortest odds. Van Nistelrooy, of course, who's already there, who was brought in by Ten Hag, fellow Dutchie. I think he loses his job because I think the timing is just so good for United. It's no football for a couple of weeks. He's sacked if they win. Thanks, Gucci. They should sack him and say, oh, if he wins. Look, he's going to get sacked at some point, win, lose, or draw. But we're talking about, is he sacked today? He's not going to get sacked today if they win. I can't see it, even with the international break. Thomas Frank's amazing. Yeah. I like the idea of him going to Chelsea. I mean, I'm very happy now with Enzo. Ole back in, no, he won't go there. Ineos won't go there. Most managers would take that job except Mourinho. Yeah, still scarred. It's a really interesting one. The Man United circus, and it has been a circus, hasn't it? Since Fergie left, it's been a bit of a circus. So, yeah, thank you guys for all your predictions. Does anybody see Bruno points? Like, let's talk about some individuals. How many points does Ollie Watkins get? I think Ollie Watkins gets a goal minimum. I'm going to say 1 goal and a couple of bonus. So I'm going to say Ollie Watkins gets a 8-pointer. Could be more. I could see 2 attacking returns easily. And I do think we could see John Duran starting with Ollie Watkins, by the way. 25-pointer for Ollie Watkins. Yeah, I would love the waistcoat Gucci so much at United. It's 2 of my least favourite things. -2. Yeah, let's talk Watkins. 13 points, 17 points, 11. God, it's going to kill rank. This is why overall rank mid-game week isn't worth looking at, because Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins, for me, I don't own either of them, could go and get 20-pointers. And then my overall rank is rubbish right here, right now. Okay. How many points does Bruno get? Oh, I'd take 10 for Rodgers, though, Maliki. 2 assists for Rodgers, no low. Yeah. How many points does Bruno get? I think Bruno gets 2 points. Genuinely, I can't believe my friend, and I stream with him on Chasing Green Arrows. Come and check it out. We'll be streaming on Monday. I can't believe Big Man has Bruno, and I've told him this. Like, it's just, I really want a Bruno return for him. I genuinely want a Bruno return. I don't. If he was 6 million, I'd understand holding him because he's on pens. He could always come up with the goal. He's United's best player. But the way United are functioning right now, he's a sell. If you own Bruno, whether he scores today or not, sell him in the international break. Genuinely. If Bruno scores today, if Bruno gets a 10-pointer today, if Ten Hag is still there, I still sack him. If Ten Hag gets sacked, Bruno could be a really interesting buy, by the way. Really interesting buy because you get a new manager bounce and you get United's best player. It kind of would work, wouldn't it? Bruno Fernandes had 13 points this season. He does play Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, Leicester, Ipswich, Everton in the next 6 games after today. If they have a new manager, he is potentially a buy. But honestly, if Ten Hag's still there, he's an absolute sell. -3. Red card for the 3rd game in a trot. -3. 6 assists. Yeah, someone thinks he's going to get points. There's a few of you. If you own Bruno and you're in the chat right now, please give us your reasoning as to why he's still in your team. I don't want to be mean. And look, I might go buy Bruno if Ten Hag gets sacked tomorrow. I don't want to be mean, but just tell us why you've held him this long. No one makes all the right decisions. There's players in my team where you go, Gianni, why the hell is, I don't know, Calvert-Lewin in your team? Cement, whatever. Yeah, I get it. Bruno is Ten Hag out. I think a lot of the dressing room are Ten Hag out. Guys, let's move on from Man United then. Might come back to it. To the other game at 2 o'clock. My team, Chelsea. Chelsea, not on TV in England, disappointing. Chelsea versus Forest. Predictions. I'm going 2-0. This is why I didn't think Cole Palmer was a must-buy this week, because I do think Chelsea's ceiling in this fixture, knowing Forest are good defensively, is lower. I'll behave, Gucci. 1-0. Is that because he went to your boys and got the 1-0 win? Forest went to Liverpool, didn't they? Yeah, Maliki's on Badgers on 2-1. I mean, I would love, not a 0-0, but I would love Sells saving a Palmer penalty. Sells is in my team, of course, and I don't have a Chelsea attacker. But 1-0 Chelsea. 1-1. There's a lot that think draws. Forest are good away at parking the bus, but they won't create much. Forest are a very good defence. Look, it's Nuno. Nuno teams are good defensively. As you're getting those guesses in, guys, reminder that I said I would give out some memberships. I will only do that if we get 100 subs in today's show. So, hashtag just saying. But if you want to hit that subscribe button, that would be amazing. And I'm desperate to get to 500 likes because I just think when I see 700 of you watching, firstly, that makes me very happy. Thank you. But I'm like, why aren't you all hitting the like button? What's wrong? What's wrong with this stream? How can I make it better for you to hit the like button? So yeah, feedback welcome. Close game. I can't see a 5-2. I can't see I can't see a huge amount of goals, but we have to remember Chelsea are the best attack in the Premier League right now. They just are. The numbers show they are, right? It's nice to say that. I've not been able to say that for a while. Oh, Maliki, you're too kind. Yeah. Harrison says Hearts is 2-0 as a Chelsea fan. Harrison's in Perth. He's, yeah, okay. Aino and Hudson-Odoi back at the bridge. Yeah, Spurs attack. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's move away from Chelsea then. A lot of you think Chelsea win or a draw. But like me, I think a lot of you, like Rowena, is thinking it'll be fairly low scoring. Like, I don't think the ceiling for Palmer, I think Palmer will get an attacking return today because he's that good. But I don't think he's going to go get 3 attacking returns, you know? He'll kill overall rank if he does. So, okay, let's move on then away from Chelsea to the Super Sunday game. Did I sound Australian then? Brighton versus Spurs. Brighton versus Spurs. How do we see that one going? I see goals. I think Tanky might have nailed that. I think 2-2. I see goals. Do see goals. Spurs 3-0 says FPL Down Under. Sinnans on the score draw is popular. I think everyone sees heavy Spurs win. Everyone sees goals. Rowena's on 3-2. Andy's win. Sam 3-4. KM 3-1. Yeah, okay. Solanke Brace would be a bit heartbreaking before I buy him. Johnson 2 goals. Yeah, one thing Johnson won't get is 90 minutes, but maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe that doesn't matter. High line versus high line. Will Bournemouth Brighton learn their lesson from last week against Chelsea? So naive. That was high line versus high line. Certainly high line of Bournemouth. Wow, that would hurt. 5-0 Spurs would hurt. 6th Street. There's a lot of Spurs fans in the chat by the looks of it. Interesting. High line derby. I'm looking forward to the high line derby. Can I steal that for a tweet? Because I am looking forward. Goals galore in Brighton versus Spurs, I'm saying. I'm looking forward to the Highline Derby later. Goals galore in Brighton versus Spurs. Yeah, I'm so cheap just taking people's things and tweeting them. I don't usually do that. But that was very, very good. Who said that? I can't find the comment now. Bloody hell. Are you on Twitter? Can I tag you? Can't see it. Maddison is a little bit too deep. Assist to the assist. What it is, right? The Spurs lineup now has Kulusevski playing in the midfield 3. So Kulusevski and Maddison, and then say Bentancur at the midfield 3. What does that mean? Well, that means Maddison has to be a little bit more disciplined because he's not the only number 10. He's now box to box. Kulu the same. They're both creative, but they've both got some defensive responsibility. Kulu is thriving in more central areas, by the way, and it absolutely is working for Spurs. You look at Maddison and Kulu as 8, plus 2 wingers, plus a number 9, right? That's 5 very good attackers, right? And then you add in the fullbacks who are allowed to attack. You're like, oh, it's 7 attackers. But here's the thing. And as Boona will say, Boona's a Spurs fan. Boona, I hope you've just caught that, what I've just said about the Spurs lineup. You got Kulu, Mads, you got the wide men and the number 9. That's a front 5. Tasty. If you add in the fullbacks, it's a front 7, and that's too many numbers. So what we're seeing now, since Kulu has moved to a midfield 3, we're seeing Pedro Porro and Udogie, both still very good and both allowed to get forward, but not in the same way as we saw perhaps the first 3-4 game weeks of the season, where Porro was like a number 10. So when Maddison and Kulu are chief creators in the middle, it means Porro and Udogie, they'll be creators, but not quite in the same way. They'll have a little bit more defensive responsibility. They're still both good options. I don't know if Udogie's fit today. I hope he is. And Porro is going to get a lot of love on wildcard. It is worth noting, despite all those attacking numbers and all those players moving forward, and Kulu and Maddison both playing in the midfield, still Spurs look better defensively, right? Van der Ven at 4.5 million feels like a good buy. Postecoglou has done something this summer with that defence where he's improved them. Somehow, playing with one defensive mid and Mads and Kulu, they still look better defensively. So fair play. Spot on, Gianni. If you do the maths, it equates to a Brighton battering. Well, there is another key component here, and that is Brighton are very good in attack. They went to Stamford Bridge and scored a couple of goals. They're scoring. Herzler at teams are set up well to score. We saw them beat Arsenal or score. No, we didn't see them beat Arsenal. They beat United. João Pedro scored against Arsenal, but I think they lost. It's interesting, this game, for goals. One thing I can promise you is goals galore. Like, we're going to see 3-4 goals plus, aren't we? I think we are. The best Spurs picks on wildcard. Sorry, the best Spurs picks from game week 8. If I was to rank them, give me your rankings. I'm going to say Solanke is the best buy. I think if value, it's Brennan. But then I think if you've got the money, just because he's so good and he'll be on pens, it's Son. And then I do think, if I'm just going off attackers, I'm going to rank at 4 Kulu and at 5 Maddison because he's more expensive. I could put Kulu at 3, actually. Kulu is an interesting one. That's without defenders. That's how I rank them, I think. I don't know. It's a tough one. My opinion could change today. This is without defenders. Pedro Porro and Van der Ven obviously in the mix too. Johnny says he's got Solanke 1, Porro 2. I actually think Van der Ven over Porro now, just for value, is better. Because you save $1 million. And I don't think Porro is going to get an abundance of attacking returns with Kulu playing in the midfield 3. Kulu's been... Did you see Postecoglou's quote? He said Kulu's a bit more restricted. He's less restricted now. He's not a winger and he doesn't want to be a winger. And he's always been a winger at Spurs. So I think this central role suits him, clearly. He does his best work in inside positions, like Cole Palmer. Kulu's a poor man's Cole Palmer. Yeah, Mads will be on all the set pieces as well, of course. Unless Mads is injured, you don't expect Porro on him. Oh, I'm not going to give you benching. We're not going to do questions for game week 7 bench just yet, mate. I can't do it. We've got 2 weeks, mate. Kulu's like Bernardo Silva, great player, but not... Yes, fair point. Fair point. I've never seen Bill as an FPL option, and I love him as a footballer. AG saying exactly the same thing. Really interesting. If you're just joining, by the way, go back and watch the last hour, because if you want the breakdown stuff. I've done an hour analysing all the games from yesterday. If that's your thing, you'll enjoy, hopefully, the content from the start of the show. So we looked at some data, but then we also looked at every game, whether it was XG plots, pass maps, showing dominance and average positions, comparing players like Bowen and Mbeumo, seeing how Man City have been dominated for XG for 2 weeks in a row now, looking at the boring games as well as the good. So that is all on there. I've just flicked through if you're listening on podcast. But if you want to see that stuff in more detail, all from Scout members area or between the posts, I've given a proper update on all of that jazz. But we are towards the end of the show. Therefore, we're talking about today's games right now. And as Dan says, if you want to show your support, you can hit the like button. There are loads of you watching for the first time as well. So if you're a first timer and you're new around here, you can subscribe to the channel if you fancy. That'd be wicked. And loads of you will maybe think you're subscribed and not. So just check. And if you're not and you want to be, hit that subscribe button. That'd be cool. I'm going to do this every Sunday morning, but not during the international break. So I'm on holiday next week, and therefore there won't be a Sunday stream because it's all about reviewing the Saturday game. So what would I do next Sunday anyway, right? So every Sunday morning on this channel at this time, I will review the Saturday games. Pretty cool. If that's your thing. Thank you, brilliant show again. Lots of information. Just about. Oh, thanks, mate. So look, what I'd love to do is just introduce you, for those that don't know, to the fact that I'm giving away prizes every week. I'm sure many of you've heard it. If you're on FPL Twitter, you would have seen it. If you've watched my YouTube stuff before, you would have seen it. But I'm now giving away £100 a week Amazon voucher, or some weeks a PS5. I've shipped a PS5 to Vancouver, for God's sake. But many don't know about this, and I want you to. So if it's your thing, and you want to win big, all you've got to do is join my sleeper draft. So there's a QR code on screen which you can scan. So this week I'm giving away an Amazon voucher. So if you want to play ahead of game week 7, there's a link in the description, or you can get your phone out now and scan the QR code and join my pick'em pool. All you've got to do in pick'em is pick win, lose, or draw for all 10 fixtures. If you get 10 out of 10 right, you're winning the voucher. If you get 8 or 9, you've got a chance. My dad actually won. He got 9 out of 10. Gucci in the chat has won £100. But yeah, season long, I'm giving away a MacBook or in between £1,000 and £1,500 worth of Amazon vouchers. Monthly, I do a £100 voucher for members only, but weekly, £100 voucher or PS5. The prizes are there. If you want to join, I'll see you come into the chat right now. So do join, and you can chat to me all on the Pick'em app, the Sleeper app on Pick'em. It's wicked. You can chat on there. You can DM me. We do polls. Yeah, some of you are joining right now. I can see. Too Far Fletched has just joined. Julianne's just joined. Andy's just joined. Ronaldinho18's just joined. It's free money, right? I want my YouTubers to win it. Shrub, the link is in the description, or the QR code is on screen. Just scan the QR on your phone. Or if you're on your phone, there's a link in the description. So just click description and you're in. Hey, new guys. Get playing for match day 7. It's a no-brainer. I think you'll love it. I'm currently 7 on 7 on my sleeper. Or Pepsi. So what? You could win match day 7. Sorry, get playing match day 8. So £100 voucher could be going to Pepsi this week. Let's look at the table. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. There are quite a few of you on 7. You're one of about 8 or 9. Got a good chance. What were your predictions for the final 3? It won't let me join. It should do, Steve. Weird if it doesn't. Has anybody else joined? Does it work for anyone? Let me know. I can see people have joined, though, in the last 5 minutes. So it must be you guys. Let me know if it's worked for you, and let me know if it's not working for you. But yeah, when you scan the QR code, it will take you to the download. You download the app, you register an account. That takes about 20 seconds. There's no gambling. There's no crypto. There's no money exchange. It's all free. There's no strings. And then it's a brilliant football app. I've also, through Sleeper, I'm playing a draft league, which is also wicked. It's the best draft you'll see. So give it a go. I contact you, I DM you on Sleeper. It's just like WhatsApping someone or Twitter DM, but on Sleeper. So I DM all the winners and then get your address and I post it. Well, Sleeper do. Oh, you've signed up, HP, which should be good. Good man, Mackham. Good man, Mackham. So, guys, if you want to join, it's all there for you. But yeah, get downloading. Hopefully, it all makes sense. Yeah, I can see people joining. It's definitely working this morning. Hi, guys. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to say our goodbyes now, I think. Let me just check. Did we ever get anywhere near 500 likes? I know that was ambitious. I knew that was ambitious. We got to 400. I'll take that. Thank you, guys. Will Ten Hag lose his job today if United lose? 57% of you think yes. I will be back on Monday morning for another video where I'm going to reveal my early thoughts for the game week. If you're just joining, go back and see all the stuff that I've gone through in today's show, whether it's heat maps, average position maps. I've given good discussion on all those topics. I'll be back in 2 Sundays' time, but I will be back tomorrow, of course, for another video. So, guys, thank you for joining me on your Sunday morning. I've had a free house. The 2-year-old's at a birthday party this morning with the wife. So I've enjoyed so much, which is why I've had a bit longer with you today. I've enjoyed it so much. Do join me on Fantasy Football Scout later with Chai as well at 6:45 if you fancy. Thank you, as always, for watching. And I will see you for another show on this channel tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Goodbye.